Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make a logo in Google Drawings. Okay, the easiest way to get the Google Drawings is to go to your Google Drive if you don't see it over here. Once you're in Drive, if you click on New, look for Google Drawings. You might have to click on More, then click on Google Drawings. That'll take you to a blank artboard, or I sometimes call it a canvas, which is the space on your screen where you can do your work. So there's a few different ways to resize your artboard or your canvas. One way is to take the little pointer down at the bottom of your screen right over here and to squeeze it in, squeeze it out. But if you want to be specific on the size of your artboard or the size of your canvas, go up to File, go down to Page Setup, and here you can customize it. So if you click on the drop arrow, the down arrow for standard is what it says for you. But if you change that to custom, then you can determine the width and the height. And you can measure that by inches, centimeters, points, or pixels. For this assignment, I'm just going to have you guys choose inches and make it squared, meaning it's going to be 10 inches wide by 10 inches high. Hit apply, and then you will see a squared canvas or artboard that is ready to be worked with. By default, every drawing file that you create is called Untitled Drawing. Go up there and click on it and give it a name. For this project, it's going to be called CAMS Logo Square because you are making this a squared image. Okay, so what I will start to do is get an image. I'm going to go to Insert Image, and I'm going to search the web for this. Since we're doing a falcon logo, I want to stick with something with our falcon colors, so blue background. That's what I searched for, and as we scroll through, you can find backgrounds that we like. Click on it one time and hit Insert. Once you insert it, take the points and resize it so that it goes to the edge of your canvas. Don't go outside the edge of your canvas because this will cut off your image whenever you go to save it later. So what I'm doing here is adding a border to my background, changing the thickness of it. I went in and changed it to blue, didn't like it, so I went back to black so it stands out a little bit more. And now what I'm doing is just squeezing in my background so that it leaves a little bit of edge near the canvas edge. You can also use your arrow keys to move your images precisely. Next, what I'm going to do is go to Drive, and if you go to Shared Drive, you're going to see pictures that I have shared with all of you. There's a specific shared drive called Digital Media Files. That's what you will use to insert any images of our logo or any pictures that we all are sharing with each other. In that folder, there is a Pics folder, and they're all organized by name. And I have a Falcon logo folder for you. There's one Falcon logo with a background, a few without. Without would be good because now you're placing that logo on your background that you chose. You can drop that logo wherever you want. Now, if you go in and do a border, it's going to put it around the edge like a square. You don't want to do that. You can undo that and take it away. But what you can do is apply format options such as drop shadows. And when you put a check on drop shadow, you can't really see it until you toggle around with the transparency, the angle, the distance, the blur radius. Adjust those accordingly until you find something that you like that is not too distracting. You don't want your drop shadow to be too far away because then it gives a blurry look that's just too distracting. Also, a deep, dark drop shadow usually works best. You can move that around with your arrow keys, where you can just drag and drop it. And next, what you can do is insert some word art. Once you insert word art, type in the name of our school. Make sure you properly capitalize everything because it is a proper noun. Here I'm typing Connellsville Area Middle School, all on one line. But when you do that, you're going to see it's kind of too much for one line. And you can split that up by doing Connellsville Area, and then separately you can do middle school maybe on the bottom. However you want to arrange it. Just keep in mind that words are to be popping out. The default for word art doesn't look very good. It's a very thin font, no effects to it. So go in and choose a font that's real clear, easy to read. Remember, you can install more fonts. My go-to lately has been Anton. We all have our favorite fonts after a while. I changed the border thickness, the border color. Didn't really like the way that looked, so I'm going to go for something else. Go back to the black. Maybe this time do a black fill with a white border, however you want. And just like we did with our logo or our picture, we can apply a drop shadow as well. And again, keep in mind, you don't want the drop shadow to be too distracting and go too distant from the words. It's too hard to read that way. So I'm just looking at the changes that are being made through angle, distance, transparency until I find something I like. Now, what I just did was duplicate the current word art that I just made and applied the same style. I used Control D for that. That way, all I had to do was double click the word art and change what it says so I don't have to go through the drop shadow and the fill and the border options again. So Control D will do that. You can go into your pictures and apply some other filters, but again, you don't want something that's going to be too distracting. Sometimes the simpler the better. We won't want anything red or hot pink because those are not our school colors. Reflection is also a format option, and again, you don't want anything too distracting. Use it wisely. Just add a little bit of flair to your logo. Something like this is a little bit better than the default that just came up that was a little too distracting. So you can get an idea what I'm looking for here in this Google Drawings project. Here are some examples of logos that were designed by last year's digital media students. They're very creative. They look all different, but they keep the basic editing designs in mind that we learned about this year. You definitely want your words to pop out and have a neat, clean edit.